Oh, I don't know what's going on here. I've got some such strange messages. Hello, but hopefully we are now live. Oh, I've had such trouble with all my tech. I don't know what's going on, and strange messages from my streaming software. But hopefully I am now live on Facebook and YouTube. So I've got a really fun card for you today, another fun fold card. I'm hoping this camera is going to work. It dropped out last week, so hopefully it'll work this week. We're going to make a fun fold card. So all the instructions will be on my website at craftycarolscards.co.uk, and all the measurements and everything are there, though I will give you them during this video. So as always, please do let me know if you're watching and where you're from. And yeah, I hope that this is interesting. So I'll swap over to my craft desk, and hopefully it's not too out of focus. Hopefully that works. Jolly good. So this is the card that we're going to make. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of the envelope, and it jumps up to form it's what's called a column pop-up, because this bit's like a column, or both columns, and it stands up beautifully, obviously. And it's just a little nice fun fold. Now you might say, okay, but where do I write things? That's what the back's for. So you'll write on the back here, and I've just added an area for you to do that on the back. And I am using, as always, this. Oh, hang on. Oh dear. I'll bring that over here. Here we go. Oh, there we go. I'm using this lovely bundle here. I haven't got the full suite of the Traditions of Christmas suite, but I've got a lot of it. So I've got the Christmas greenery stamp set and dies, and it's the dies again that I've used most in this. And there's so many dies. I've had to cut the sheet up. Look, there's so many to go in here that they match the stamps and give you a whole load of other dies, which I have shown you before. And this is the gorgeous paper here. It has these beautiful patterns. So I've used this particular sheet as a background. You know, there's two sides of it, and I've actually used both sides in this card. And some of these other sheets will cut out, I'm sticking to the desk here, will cut out with the dies, such as this one. It cuts out the sprigs that I've used. You can also cut out these larger sprigs that also match one of the stamps. And these are just gorgeous papers, as you can see, and you'll have seen me use them in quite a lot of cards already, because they are just delicious, and I really, really love this DSP. I might have to buy some more because it's so nice. Anyway, let us get on with the bits we need. So I've got a lot of them ready, because put that with that. That's that envelope. Got a lot of bits ready already, because there's quite a lot of cutting and preparation to get the bits ready. I've also already prepared my envelope. Now, I mentioned this last time I used this paper, but the dies will actually cut on the sheets. I should have shown you when they were here. There are half images round the sort of tops and bottoms of the sheets, and you can cut out these partial images using the die as well, which gives you bits to stick on and make as extra decoration. So I used one of the side bits here on the envelope. So that is how I did the envelope. So let's get into the main bits for the card anyway, for the fun fold. So this is the base. Now, I started off with a normal base, which is 21 by 14.8, but you do need to cut off just a tiny bit so that we make it 20.5. So, but I would cut the normal half sheet of A4 to start with, and then we can trim it down. I cannot actually remember whether I've already trimmed this or not. No, I haven't, so I need to do that. Okay, so normal card base to start with. The other bits you need this piece here. Now, this piece could be made a little bit shorter if you wanted. It depends on the size of image you want to put on the front. It needs to have room for an image and sentiment, so sort of think about the image you want to use for the front of the card first. And this is 10.5 centimetres by 12 centimetres. And apologies, I have not worked out these sizes in inches. It was straining my brain. I've been a bit busy with things, and it was straining my brain, so I didn't. But then you need quite a lot of bits of DSP. So let's try and go through these. So the main bits of DSP, which is the pattern bit that shows on the front, and I've chosen this particular paper, and I've used the reverse for my second bit. So that the first one, you want 3 strips which are here. And these strips are 2.2 centimetres by 14.5. Then you need one that is 7.7 centimetres by 14.5. And then for the other piece of for the pattern on the column bit, oh, I'm throwing it on the floor. This bit here, you need two bits. Oh, just pick that one up. I've thrown on the floor. And this one is 2.2 by 11.7. And this one is 6.2 by 11.7. And then you want a scrap of white for the sentiment. You also need, and I don't seem to have got that, a piece of basic white for the back of the card. And I thought I had cut that, but I obviously haven't. So let me just grab a spare piece of basic white here and cut it down. For that bit, this piece needs to be my usual second size piece, 9.5 by 13.8. So I'm just going to trim this one down first, 9.5 by 13.8. So if I get round to working out the inches, I will put them in the blog. However, this one, I can't do it. Right, oh, where are we? Margaret, you're from Sligo today. I never know where you are. You get around so much, but it's lovely. So you'll do the 5 by 7 inch again. Oh, lovely. So Margaret's very good. Margaret likes making 5 inch by 7 inch cards, bigger than our usual C6 cards, which is fine. Everybody, you know, has their own ideas as to what they like to do, and she's great at that. So I think look at Margaret's Stamping with Margaret's website, because she'll probably have the inch measurements on this card, because I'm quite sure she'll make it in her own size. But if I do get around to doing the inches, I will add them to the blog when I publish it later today. So those are the bits you need. All of it's in the blog, so I'm not going to sort of repeat them now, but I want to show you how to make this really simple and easy fun fold. So we're going to start with our piece here, and as I said, we need to cut that down. I'm slightly running out of room on my desk as always. I've got a huge desk and I don't know why. I need to cut it down to 20.5 centimetres. Just need to cut a little tiny bit off the edge. And that's just to make sure it fits in the envelope, because when it's got the bends on it, that actually measures the 10.5, which is what you need. But when it's got the bends in it, it just sort of works out properly that way. And it's to make the measurements easy. That's why. We could leave it as 21, but then the measurements would be even more complicated than they currently are. So on this piece now, we are going to score it, and we need to score it at 2.5 centimetres. So if I'm doing a small score on a long piece, I always use the right-hand side because it makes it a lot easier. So that is scored at 2.5 centimetres. I'm going to turn it round because we're going to score it now at 5 centimetres, at 7.5 centimetres, and at 10 centimetres, which is why it then leaves the 10.5, which fits the width of the envelope, if you see. That's it, just to make these measurements easier, because otherwise they'd be sort of 0.3s and 0.7s and all sorts of nonsense. So that is for the base of the card, and we're going to fold and burnish all of those. And when you're doing that, do make sure that the top and bottom line up properly. Because otherwise it will be a bit wonky and it will not stand properly. So as you're doing these folds and burnishing them, do make sure that you're lining up the top and bottom of the card as you fold it over. So I'm just doing all of these the same. They are all mountain folds, like that. So that is the bit that forms the column at the side. It folds under itself like that, sticks to the card like that. And that forms your column. So that is the first piece. I'm not going to stick it together yet, because I'll show you it makes it a lot easier to stick the DSP on before you actually form the column. Right, now this piece here, this is your piece 10.5 by 12, and you're going to score on the short side, the smaller side, and we're going to score that at 6.5 centimetres and at 9 centimetres. So we have a little piece that is 1.5 centimetres wide at the edge there, and that's going to stick down to the card to form this second piece. So again, we're going to fold and burnish those. folding them over and making sure that the edges line up each time. And the same with this little bit, make sure it's lining up so it's nice and straight. And there we have our piece for the fold over bit in the card. That makes some sense there. There we go. So before we stick all of the card together, then I do want to make sure that I've got the bits stuck on. So all of these bits here that I've already got, just put those over there. So we want our shorter bits go on this piece and our longer bits go on this piece. So I'm going to start with the pieces that go onto the column bit here. And the important one is you don't put one on the first column. I mean, you could if you want, but it's on the back of the card, so nobody's really going to see that. So I'm going to just stick them to the 3 outer panels here. No, so the 3 center panels, because this bit you don't see because it's stuck inside the card. That's what I mean by on the back. It's because that sticks down, you don't see it at all. So you don't need anything on there. I did wonder about actually putting some on the inside of that, because you can just about see the inside of the panel if you're holding the card up. Let me show you. And I've got this one stuck down. So what I mean is on this card, I did think about sticking a sheet on here, on this inside bit. But to be honest, unless you're looking like that, you don't really see it. So I thought it was a bit of a waste of paper, but that is up to you. So just being careful, as I said, when you're sticking these down, stick them on the 3 panels that are going to show, because those are the ones you will see. Not the one that sticks down to the back of the card, because you don't need it on there. So this is unusual for me because I'm making this card just about exactly the same as I made the first one. And I don't usually make 2 cards the same, but we are doing today. So I was in Germany last week. So, oh, hi, Kay. Almost missed you. Oh, no. But how nice to see you all the way from Indiana. That's lovely to see you. So those are my first bits there. And then my big back bit, oops, I can stick on as well on the back here. But I need to make sure I'm lining it up with my little border going around the top and the right-hand edge. Because we don't need to worry about it coming all the way across because it's covered by the column fold as we fold it in. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And I hope this will all make a bit of sense. So as I'm lining this one up, it doesn't really have an up and a down. It's the same all the ways. So we want to put it on the right-hand piece of this card. Don't need one here because that is where the column is going to fold over. So to stick the column down, you can either use some glue if you wanted, but I prefer to use things like tear and tape because I think it holds fun folds where there's any sort of pressure on them. And there is with this because it has to hold up the other piece and make sure it stays stuck down. So you could use your fast fuse or you could use, as I am doing, tear and tape. Put a piece in the centre as well, and then we know it's never going to come off, ever. That'll really stick it down big time. There we go. I'm going to take these off now. Just about reach my bin. Yeah. If I move that piece of paper out of the way, then I can get into the bin. I don't know why there's a piece of paper in my way. Okay, so to stick this down, this is going to stick on this piece here. So the easy way to do it is fold those 2 pieces in and then fold it over, because then you know it's going to fold flat, which is important, like that, and then it will stick down properly. So that sticks that down and it forms the column like that. Okay, so that's the way to stick it down to make sure this is nice and flat. So then we're going to go on to this centre bit, and this is the bit that's going to show on the front of the card here. So I'm going to stick that bit on first. Seems a shame not to use the gold specialty paper. I do find it difficult to use the non specialty side of any of our DSPs, because I do love the gold, but sometimes it's important, and it is for this one. So, because otherwise it would take away from the decoration I'm going to put on front. I've die cut, as I said, die cut my piece for on top, but you could easily stamp something. So this card can be made for any occasion. It's just a really nice fun fold, I think, anyway. I made this sort of card last year, and actually made this as a box, so you could actually put a gift in it. It's another way to play around with this fun fold. You need a bit of an extra bit off the end here, but that's fine. Right, same here. I'm going to use some tear and tape. I've actually got some thicker tear and tape, which just fits that nicely. So I'm going to put tear and tape on there. Not quite to the end, but it will be okay. Didn't measure that very carefully, did I? So that's gone on the floor, never mind. So to stick this on in the right place, because when it's closed, that edge needs to come up here, and it needs to have the same gap here and more or less here. So I'm going to fold both of those under. So I'm holding it like this. And then to stick it down, because I want to make sure it's roughly in the middle, so I'm going to hold it where I think it should be, make sure it has roughly the same gap here and here, and then stick it down. And again, that makes sure it lies flat for posting, but that is what will bring it up once we've stuck this edge down. But I like to stick this piece down so I know it's in the right place before I add anything to this edge. And again, I'm going to use my normal tear and tape. You can see why it's a lot easier to make sure you stuck your DSP on before you start putting this card together. That is important. And then to make sure this is sticking in the right place, make sure that this piece that's the bit of the column that shows up, but hold that flat, hold the column flat, and then press down like that. And that again, make sure you've got a nice flat card for posting, but it easily forms its column. Okay, so that is how to put it together. You could use a gold layer under the red if you wanted to introduce more gold on the front. Absolutely. You could have more layers around the card. You could have 2 layers here and 2 layers on each of these if you really wanted to go mad. I didn't. I think there's enough gold showing up through here, because I am going to actually use some gold embossing for my sentiment. So I did have my, yes, there it is, my embossing buddy. So I'm just going to emboss this sentiment on this piece. So I use my buddy first to make sure I only get my sentiment sticking on my gold powder sticking where I want it to. Just got to fork out my Versamark from underneath the computer. I hope that didn't jiggle too much for you. So I'm using, there is, in the Christmas greenery, the one sad thing is there are no sentiments. If you buy the whole suite, then you get a whole range of sentiments in the other piece. But I do have already so many Christmas sentiments. I really didn't need any more. So I'm using Merry Christmas from one of the other suites that I have. Can't remember which one, so don't ask me because I can't remember. I've probably got it here somewhere. Oh, yes, I have Sparkle of the Season from last year. That's what I got that from. So I put the Versamark on there, so I'm just now going to cover it in the gold embossing powder and flick off all the excess without knocking it off the letter. Stupid. There we go. Put that away again before I knock it all over the place, which is my usual game play. And now we'll do the magic of the embossing. Love fun folds. You'll have to case. Oh, please do. Very happy for anyone to case anything I make. That's the whole point of doing these videos, so you can see and get ideas and then have a go and practice yourself. Change the size like Margaret does, or change whichever stop blowing over, there we go. Change whatever stamp set and things you use, because as I said, this can be made for just about any occasion. Come on, melt. There we go. Hopefully you could see that all melting as I did it. So there is my sentiment. And here is my nice little sprig that I'd already done. It's not brilliantly cut out looking at it, but it will do. Let me just find all of my dimensionals, because I'm going to put a few dimensionals on this to stick it on the front. Now, I did think actually about adding a bow. I might add a bow to this one because I found this glorious ribbon, which is cherry cobbler, which matches all my card. I think I used real red for the first card, and this is cherry cobbler. So I have actually made a difference. So it's not quite the same card, which is always a good thing. Don't like making two the same. So I could just make a little bow and put that on. I'll make one and then decide if I want to use it or not. Stay straight, bow. Turn you around. Turn you inside out, that's better. Make sure that that turns properly. Normally when you do the rabbit thing, it does work out quite nicely, but this one seems to be twisting a bit. But anyway, we'll just tweak it and get it to go where I want it. Why won't that one turn around? There we go. That's better. Just tweak it like that and make it a little bit smaller because I don't want too much room on there. There we go. Get my ribbon scissors and just have a chop at that. There. I love this because it matches the paper with the gold in it and it's the same colour as my cardstock, so I think I might have to use that. Okay, so I'm going to stick this on the front and we'll decide where the ribbon goes in a minute. I'm going to actually stick this quite high up because I'm thinking I might put the ribbon at the bottom, in which case I need to have that fairly high so that I can get my sentiment across and then have my ribbon underneath. I think that's what we'll do. And because I can't cope with just a straight sentiment, I'm going to just flag those ends. Easiest way is to do a little cut in the middle and then cut to the point each way. There we go. Get rid of the bits. So, you two, as the ladies who come to your classes, love fun fold cards for special people. Absolutely. And I don't know, they're just fun to make, aren't they? And I like it, especially if people have any idea and they go, oh, I wonder how you made that. And I just love that. So I'm going to pop some dimensionals on here. We'll use some mini ones because it's not very wide. Just ones at each side because I'm going to put it across that bow. So I don't want one in the middle because then I'd have a double depth there, and because it's a fun fold, it's already slightly deeper than just a simple card. So again, to stick this on, I want to be thinking, where will this stick nicely? I think I'll have it about here. There we go. And that still doesn't, well, a little bit off the side. Perhaps I need to move it over just a fraction. There we go. And then it doesn't stick out the side. Just check when you're sticking a sentiment across. If it's a slightly longer one like this one, check it's not coming off the side here. Because that'll get damaged if you put it in the envelope. So that will be fine. And then this I will put on with some, I just got these ones, these will do. These are ones I keep from kits. If you get a kit, there's always far more stuff than you need for the whole kit. So you usually get some nice glue dots and things left over, which means it's nice when you've got a bow you want to stick on somewhere. It still isn't sitting quite. I'll fiddle with that later to make it sit where I really want it to. So there we go. And just to finish it off, I can't stop using these. These are just gorgeous. These are the traditional sparkling sequins, I think they're called, yes. And they're just gorgeous. So I think, again, on my gold theme, we're going to have some nice gold ones. I'll have a nice big one up here and a couple of smaller ones down here. Just to add a few of those. I think we'll have them like that. There we go. And I've got my ribbon, and it's just fun to make these cards. Stop now, Carol. Don't put any more on because that's enough. There we go. And I just need to finish the back. And for the back, as I've said, we're just going to use, it's actually thick basic white, but never mind, don't mind it. And again, I've got, I'm just going to do this in black. I've got a sentiment from another stamp set. Can't remember which one this one's from. But I'm sure you, like me, have plenty of. There we go. May the peace of the season light your world, and may your new year be the brightest. I quite like that. Can't remember which stamp set it's from, sorry. But if you really need to know, I can let you know. It is a retired set. Because I didn't buy any new Christmas sentiments this year, because to be quite honest, I didn't need them. A wow on the mantelpiece. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of Funfold cards. They do look so good when they're displayed. So this now we can stick on the back. Check I have, yes, I have got it the right size. Sometimes I forget to do that, and then I realise I haven't quite got it at the right size, which is stupid. But yeah, this is my usual second layer size. If you wanted to put, just check I've got it the right way up, yes. If you wanted to put a gold layer behind your DSP, perhaps you haven't got specialty DSP and you want to just make it shine a little bit, then use the measurements I give you for the layer and then take off 4 millimeters to put the DSP on top. Makes the strips quite narrow, but hey, that's all right. So I don't want to add any more depth on the back because we've already got quite a lot of depth on this card. So I'm just going to stick this flat. You could stamp something on the back here or use some of the flat sequins would be all right. But I want to use this. I want to use all the paper I've got. So I cut out these extra ones. These are from the bottom of the sheet and just want to use that on the back just for a little bit of extra glim and glamour. So there we have it. There is our column Funfold card, which again just sits up, looks lovely, and put it. You don't really need to have them on these pieces, but I think it looks a lot better if you do. And you can actually have it with the column a bit off, and then you'd see that nicely. Oh, all sorts of ways of actually using it. So there are my two, just very slightly different. And different on the envelope too, because I've used the different die cuts for the envelope. There are my two column Funfold cards. I do hope you enjoy those, and I do hope that. Oh, where are we? Sunny Spain. Oh, lovely. I think it's interesting, isn't it? I think most of you know from my emails and things, I'm off to Australia and New Zealand for November and December, or from mid-November to December, where we're going to have sunshine. And everyone said to me, oh, you're going to be in Australia for Christmas. Wouldn't that be marvellous? No, I actually wouldn't like to be somewhere sunny for Christmas. It wouldn't feel right. But I think that's just me. So lovely to see you. So thank you, June, for joining me from Spain. That's lovely. Kay, I'm really glad you love the cards. I hope you have a go at them. The blog will be on the website very soon as I finish this and can get on and publish it, because I like to put the link for this video. If you needed to see the video again, you can see that from the blog. So thank you very much for joining me today. I will be back next Tuesday with another, it'll be a Christmas card again, I suspect, or a Christmas project of some sort. The Wednesday next week should be the Craftalong, but I'm actually running an in-person class next Thursday because of going away. I won't have time to do another in-person class before Christmas, so I needed to get one in. But I'm hoping I will have a video. I'll give you a sneak peek. I am going to be making a decoration with 20 large circles. So if you want to join me next week, it'll either be a recorded video or I might make this on the Tuesday if people are interested. This is how to make a honeycomb ornament. So you need 20 circles of DSP. So if you wanted to join me next Tuesday and make an ornament, then why not? I might put it on a video and just have it up on the website. So watch my emails, my newsletter for that. If I decide to do it as a video, then that's what I'll do. But I have actually got it half prepared, so I could actually do it on Tuesday. What would you think? Would you like to make a honeycomb ornament next Tuesday? Let me know in the chat, and then I can decide if I make this on Tuesday or what. You'll be back in Ireland with Margaret next day. Oh, lovely. How nice. So I hope you're enjoying Spain. I think a little bit of sunshine in the autumn and winter does us all the world of good, because, you know, it's just horrible. Well, this country's never horrible, but you know what I mean? The weather can be horrible and a bit depressing. So a little bit of sunshine, I think, does us all good at this time of year. Anyway, you could watch from the she shed on Tuesday. Oh, that would be nice, Margaret. So would you like to make a honeycomb ornament? If you do, so I've used quite large circles. You can make it with slightly smaller circles. These are, I think, about 2.5 inch circles. So they might be 3-inch circles. Yeah, about 2 3/4 inch, 3-inch circles ish. I have a non-stamping up punch of 3 circles. This one, so I used this one for my circles. But if you want to drum, you need 20. You can get 20 same DSP circles. You want something that's got a pattern you like on both sides to make this honeycomb ornament. So let's do that on Tuesday. We'll make a honeycomb ornament. So if you want to make it along with me, we can make it a sort of craft along if you want. Then won't be on Zoom. It will be on YouTube and Facebook. But we could make that. Yeah, let's do that next Tuesday then. You forgot you won't be back from Rome then, but you'll watch when you come. Yeah, so you can't be in 2 places at once, Margaret. You can't be in your she shed and in Rome. Goodness me, Rome, Spain. We're traveling the world between us all, aren't we? That's lovely. Okay, so we'll make a honeycomb ornament next week on Tuesday because that'll be fun. You will need to have, as I said, about 20 circles of whatever largest size circle punch you've got. You can make them with the 2.5 inch punch from Stamping Up if you have that. Or as I say, if you've got a 3-inch punch or a 3-inch circle die, then use those because that makes just a nice size ornament. Smaller, you'd have to make an awful lot of them. And because you need so many pieces, you might not want to use quite so much DSP. Anyway, you need 2 sheets of DSP for 20 circles of 3-inch punches. See how you get on. Well, 1 2/3 strips of DSP. Okay, we'll make that next Tuesday. And yeah, I will show you how to do that then. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a go at the nice column card because it is such a simple fun fold once you've got the measurements. But yeah, enjoy. And I will see you again next week. Thanks for joining me today. As I said, all the measurements and everything are on the website, craftycarolscards.co.uk. And if you haven't signed up for my emails, please do. You get a free gift for signing up, a nice PDF with some ideas for cards. And yeah, you'll get my news so you know when I'm doing what. So hopefully see you then.